Hey guys, Dylan from the Geek Duo here, and today I'll be bringing you my reaction to RWBY Volume 9, Episode 9, titled A Tale Involving a Tree, in which a door is encountered. So, I'm gonna be completely honest, I've been procrastinating doing this recording. I've been sat at my computer just doing jack all for the last 2 hours since it dropped, so yeah, I am not really prepared for this after what happened in the last episode. But yeah, need to get it done, and pushing it to later just makes it worse. Um, so my notes for the last episode, it's a bit of a mixed bag. Like, so I saw a theory. I don't remember who said it, but they said that maybe the blue butterflies that we've been seeing throughout this volume so far, they could be a ever after mechanic that draws the cat towards lost souls. Like how we saw one at the Crimson Castle where the cat appeared for the king, or we saw one in the Night Forest before we met the herbalist, or we saw one with Ruby when she'd pushed her last companion away. Like it, it's very believable. I just don't know. Plus, it did glow the same way that the cat's beam attack did, so you never know. Um, I do like the attention to detail. Having rewatched the fight between Ruby and the Illusions a lot, where every time one of them fires something from their weapon, every time it makes contact with the environment, there's a flash of pink to show that both components are a part of the illusion. Yet every time it hits Ruby, there's not. I just think that's a. Because they could have very easily done without it, but just the knowledge that they went through and added those just is a step above what was really needed to be done. And I just wanted to bring attention to that. So, this is a personal thing that I found out. I don't know if anyone else has drawn attention to it, but remember all the way back in volumes 2 and 3 when everyone was trying to figure out who Neo was, what her inspiration was, and almost everyone at some point said the Cheshire Cat. And then Rooster Teeth were like, no, that's not it. We're not going to tell you what it actually is, but we're going to say, no, it's not the Cheshire Cat. Then it eventually found out, oh, she's the Mad Hatter. And now she's possessed by the Cheshire Cat. So, technically, they lied to us in saying that she's not the Cheshire Cat. Also, something to remember from outside of universe, and this goes back to last volume. So, before the big fight in the pathways between Atlas and Vacuo, there was a tweet, I think it was a tweet, where it covered the fact that Aaron said that Blake was going to scream at some point. Neo was going to do something that made everyone hate her. And there were a couple more points in that tweet that obviously weren't as important to stick in my memory. But we saw Blake scream when Yang fell off the pathways. And so everyone just assumed that the Neo thing was that exact thing. Like she'd separated Bumblebee again. Yeah, no, they were definitely referring to her convincing a miner to kill themselves. Like, you gotta remember, Ruby's 17, so that does make it worse than if it was like an adult. It's still terrible no matter what. It still would have qualified, but it just makes it worse. But anyway, good thing to note, there's no warning at the start of this episode, so... Well, it can't be as bad. Let's get this started in 3, 2, 1, go. I should probably learn the opening for the finale. And I've learned up to vengeance just by watching this opening. I know words from half of the sentences. Okay, they didn't do it. A little disappointed, but also am glad we don't have to see all those characters lined up behind Neo. But why do it for Jean if you're not going to do it for the rest of them?
A door opened for Alex at the tree. Before she went back home, the girl had a great many questions to ponder.
Right, there's
After
still
all the lessons
verbal
she'd
lines
learned
from
and the friends she'd made and lost. Who
this
had
is
she
summer.
become? Would she still be the same Alex when she went back home? The leaves of the tree rustled, and on the wind, Alex heard one more question. What are you?
I don't understand. Alex, the pleasers, now Ruby. What does this place want?
He just instinctually went back to his...
I don't understand. What did I do wrong?
We can figure this out. There's got to be a way to get to the tree.
Hello there. You appear upset. Would you be so kind as to tell me how I can help?
Crystal pleaser.
Perhaps you are hungry?
Huh? No, that's okay.
If I can get you anything else, please don't hesitate to ask. That's what I'm here for.
What? What are you?
We are the Genial Gems, and we have arrived here to clean up this beautiful
Genial
land
Gems.
and create something wonderful and pleasing.
You know, the whole knowing that the tree is not necessarily death, and that she was still alive when she drank the tea, is probably why they're not having a full emotional breakdown.
This is them, isn't it? They're back. It's just like they said. They came back from the tree better.
No flood or fire will ever hurt them again.
By trying so hard to save them, I stopped them from becoming what they needed to be. I was being selfish because I wanted the rush of rescuing someone. And I got that here.
I think you're asking too much of yourself. We've been telling telling ourselves that failing means we're no good. But I can guarantee even the best huntsman in history, they've all lost. But they were still incredibly brave. And good.
Wise. Maybe that cat was right. Maybe I just needed to accept it. It's not a place you go.
What? It's a place you know.
No.
Ruby? We have to get her out!
I think I get it. This is how we got here, or why the tree brought us here. Acceptance.
We've done everything we can. Now it's up to Ruby. Whatever happens next, we have to welcome that.
But what if she isn't Ruby anymore when she comes back out?
RWBY's now a butterfly.
That's not for us to decide.
You know, there should have been a part at the start of this episode with them dealing with those emotions. Because they sort of just skipped straight to the 7th step. Or is it 5 stages? Is it 5 or 7 with grief? Like, skipping straight to acceptance.
I didn't expect you here just yet.
I
That-
wasn't expecting to be here. Are
That's
you
to
the
do with
tree?
little, isn't it?
You could say that. But that is a simplistic understanding of the tree and what it does.
What's going to happen to me? Am I gonna die?
The only thing that can happen to you here is what you want to happen. The choice of what you become and where you end up is yours to make. You don't know what you want, do you?
What they should have done is the scene of Jean accepting what happened to the geodes, and then him being taken to the tree, and then over the stage of the episode, the rest of them accept what happened to Ruby,
Is that?
and then we get this in the next episode. Like,
Our way home.
Oh, good! You made it!
I guess your little plan to get out of here isn't working?
You've always been the worst of the bunch.
So Neo can't go through the door.
she never accepted.
She has no attachments to your world, nothing to return to. She has failed me, just like Alex did.
Like Alex?
The cowardly, wretched girl whose story you've been foolishly following all along. The same girl that
I love the dramatic poses they're doing with Neo.
She promised me she would bring me back to Remnant with her, when in truth, she had no intention of taking me. No, after talking to the tree, she had a sudden crisis of conscience. Decided she wanted to fix everything she'd broken in the ever after, including poor Jean. And so Louis went. And at the very last moment, Alex didn't.
What did you do to her?
What anyone would do with a broken, useless thing. No, you didn't. You monster! She's still here. Yes! All my work. It's not lost! Deep down, she wants nothing more than to return to Remnant and play hero. I just need to cut her out, and she will take me there.
No. Whatever happens to Ruby is up to her. Not you or anyone else.
Then I'll put you in the ground.
So, I mean, that does play into the fact that Ascension doesn't work the same, because
What are these lights?
whenever Afterans
Souls
die,
that hold on to whatever they become
they go to the
next.
tree. If he killed,
Do they choose
sorry, if they killed
what their next
Alex.
life will be like?
Such concern for souls you don't know.
and there's not an Alex,
Or is it for yourself?
There's no way we're letting you get to Ruby!
But don't you see?
you're really underestimating the power you have.
Might not even be your sister any longer.
Oh, the Franken rubies. That was disturbing.
I wanted to be the hero, like the stories that my mom read to me. I just wanted to do the right thing, but every step of the way, it's like there is no right thing. I've tried so hard, and I may have just done more harm than good. I don't understand who I
Are we
need
getting
to
a clip
be,
show
because who I
of all
am
the good
right
she's
now,
done?
she's not cutting it.
What if you could be anyone?
This whole time, I thought Alex made it back home and lied about everything that happened here. But you were the one who killed. Who lied!
You were never a brave knight either. Just more fairy tale nonsense.
Oh, why would you do that? And to use oh.
No!
What happened to Jean? You had to chuck the penny in and then you peer to attack him. Why?
Who did this belong to?
It's not about who did, but who could. Can you feel the woman who might hold it? The weight of who she is. She could be you. You could put any one of them on and leave Ruby Rose behind.
Ruby with
It's
dual
all
swords?
So heavy. It's the only thing I can feel anymore. And it never, ever goes away. The feeling of not being enough.
And how would you measure enough?
Before she
We've
went back
got-
home, the girl had a great many questions to ponder. What are you?
How trippy would it be? That was short. How trippy would it be if she does go back as Summer? Like, sure, it screws up the whole team dynamics and everything. You can't really be called Ruby if you're missing the R from, well, Ruby. Like, all of that. But just like how Jean may be stuck as Old Man Jean in when he returns, we could have Summer return and how weird would that be to see Summer returning and then Crow's going to be in Vacuo for him to see Summer, for Summer to have another crack at Salem, ignoring the whole possibility that Summer may have been Grimified in the first place. Like, she may have been the prototype of the Hound. Meaning there could be two Summers existing at the same time. The emotional turmoil of Crow meeting Summer again, finding out that technically that Summer is a reborn Ruby. It would also sort of just completely throw Flying North out the window. Because, as they pointed out, they do listen to fan comments about implications and everything with what the cat said this volume, so the implications of that are not good. Let's see. Morgan Lauer. She's the voice. She's the one who voiced Summer. So, looking back at my previous reactions, I should not have mentioned that I'd heard they got a VA for Summer. Like, huh. Well, that's ironic. Oh, she voices Ray in the English My Hero. She does a lot of dub work, which I mean makes sense. As you may have noticed, I'm currently going through, as one of my other reactions, is Death Parade, and she's credited in the English dub of Death Parade, so that's why I said it was ironic. I'm not actually seeing too many things I've even heard about, let alone that I would have watched. But yeah, there's a hell of a lot of dubs. Like, ever since I mentioned Ray, I have been scrolling down and I've still not hit the bottom of everything that she is credited to. And as far as I could tell, just from looking at the thumbnail of the shows, this is the only non-anime that she's done. And they also credit her as the narrator in the first episode. Huh. Neat. This is the story of a girl who had a lot of problems. So, we still haven't heard the line from the blacksmith saying, "What if you could shed Ruby Rose like a cloak?" Now, that could have been an alternate line that got redone, but was put into the trailers. I love seeing Fusion Cat Neo. Should have given her, should have gone full cat girl, but that would have been really funny. I just wanted to see the indignation on Blake's face if she ever encounters something like that. Like, because Neo obviously has not shown any, like, hostility towards Faunus exclusively. She's hostile towards everyone. However, it would have been funny had the cat been like, "You know what? I want to keep some of my features, not just my claws. I want my ears as well." And just see the indignation on Blake's face if that hat falls off and there's just a pair of ears on Neo that aren't, like, Faunus related. I don't know why that would be so funny, but... but yeah. I did think during the fight with the illusions last episode of what would happen when John and the rest of Team RWBY arrived. Who would they see? And then after she slashed out at Ozpin and it switched away from, like, Penny, Pyrrha, and everyone else that they failed to themselves, I realized, oh, they're not going to see the emotional weight of this. And then when they arrived, they didn't even see Torchwick. We saw Torchwick standing right behind Neo, but he was not in any of the shots that they should have seen him in. Like, we see him standing behind Neo, poking out from behind her shoulder. Yet when it zooms out to their view, he's not in the scene. And then when we hear him talking to Neo while she's realizing that she's got nothing now, he's obviously not in that scene. So they, at no point before seeing Pyrrha on the tree, realized that she could reskin her illusions to being them. Like, sure, they had the Jabberwockers and everything. We still haven't seen what happened to the real Jabberwocker. Like, what happened to it? It got ganged up on by a bunch of Neos, and then absolutely nothing. But okay, I think I know what that's gonna... Chekhov's gun and everything. That thing's coming back. It's going to eat Neo, which is still possessed by the cat, and that's going to be the end of the story. That's just Chekhov's, my prediction. I do wish we... So, right now I'm looking at the credits, and we see a full body shot of Summer. It's the first time we actually see, like, her full face in the outfit that they've given us. One, she is buff. Like, just putting that out there. But two, she was always depicted as the white member of the team. Like how all of Stark has the same colorings as Team RWBY. Summer was white, Ty was obviously yellow, Crow was black, and Raven was red. Like, and now looking at her outfit, hers is a hell of a lot more red than anyone thought. Like, we've only really seen her there was the stock image back in Volume 3 where we had her fully covered in her cloak with just her face poking out. We had the 2 scenes of her on the cliff face, one in Volume 6 and another in Volume 7, but she was not wearing such a red outfit. Yeah, no, she was wearing black. In all of the tie-in comics and everything that showed her, she's always wearing black under her outfit. Like a black corset like RWBY does. Yeah, the Volume 3 opening, they showed her in the hood, and what you could see of her dress. Yeah, no, that still works with what we see. It's just the black overlay, missing the gold trim, but obviously that doesn't really matter. Then look at Volume 6 when she's fighting the Leviathan. This is what I'm going off of, by the way. It's like, here we've got full black, yet here it's red. It's a completely different outfit in that. And that is why I did not believe it was Summer to begin with. Again, in the Volume 7, we see that it's the same outfit as when in Volume 6. Like, yet, in episode, well, not episode 1, the Parfait Predicament, which was, what, 5? Yeah, and Volume 9, Episode 6, the snippets we got, you can actually see that, like, shoulders exposed, the red coloring and everything. And that is really, what really threw me off, was the fact that it was a completely different outfit from everything that we'd seen her in prior. And yes, I know RWBY's outfit always matches the shot of Summer that we're shown. Like, when RWBY was young and she just had the corset and the white undershirt, we saw Summer with a corset. When she had the just chest window, the full sleeves and everything, we saw Summer with the corset, the chest exposed and the full sleeves. And now RWBY's Atlas outfit, we see it matching with, well, more with Summer's current outfit. I'll see if I can get a shot of, like, a good shot of the comparison. Like, it's got the choker. It's technically, if you take into account the white undershirt, is not got the black all the way up to her body, or the red in RWBY's case. Yet it does have the, like, under mesh that goes all the way up, matching how Summer's goes all the way up. She's got stuff going up her arms and that, like Summer does. So it makes sense for them to change Summer's outfit to match RWBY's, as they have always done. But it still threw me off. Anyway, going back to the whole reason I started this rant was, I'm looking at this screen of the weapon and everything. And I just want to see, I want to see it in use. Like, this is very clearly a battle axe. Like, two-handed, you swing it down. We don't know if the barrel of the gun collapses. It does seem as though okay, yes, cool. Well, that does clear up that question. The back blade and the actual axe blade do collapse in on themselves and fall down, meaning you can do a it's probably going to be easier if I meaning you could use that as your stock, or you can get a proper rifle stock. So there's that. It seems I was wrong about assuming it was a shotgun. Seems like it is another rifle. So she took the scythe aspect of Crow and the rifle aspect of her mum's weapon, fused them together into Crescent Rose. Because remember, Crow's got a sawn-off shotgun in his, and she's got a axe to go with the whole... It does play into the, what's it called? Little Red Riding Hood, that Ruby is. If Summer is the huntsman, because the huntsman would use an axe. Ah, there. We'll just wait for it to slide over. I really wish Crunchyroll had a frame-by-frame thing, but... Okay. This is what I was looking for. The barrel does telescope, okay. The bottom section and the top section telescope. It's unsure as to whether this final segment here comes out the top as well. We've not seen it to say anything. The middle swings up into the when they're collapsed, it swings up into the stock. That pivots out. This collapses in on itself. I'm not sure what this arrow is for, because it doesn't seem to actually do anything. But yeah, that's what I was looking for the weapon. Okay. Yeah. This episode did pick up at the end. I just don't think it should have come directly after the last one. Now, you're probably going to be surprised with the fact that I'm talking against this show, because I'm usually a staunch defender of it, but like, logistically, you've got 3 19-year-old girls, and you've got a, let's say, 40-odd man, all of them watching one of their best friends, a person who is basically family to them, or is family in one of the cases, effectively kill themselves, added on to the fact that John has just lost the entire town that he's spent decades defending, well, not decades, but years defending, after he had finally come to grips with his, well, not really finally come to grips. He's still dealing with everything that happened with Penny, obviously, but he isn't letting it control him anymore. You see that. And then it instantly goes into them not even really mentioning it. There's no fight, obviously, because Neo escaped. There's no breakdown of watching any of the girls. There's no breakdown of Jean failing yet again. It goes straight into, oh, I thought they were going to do it. When Jean instinctively took Juniper to the Paper Pleaser's town, I thought there was going to be the breakdown. But no, then you just have them being all, well, not happy, but not completely distressed and depressed and everything, helping Jean. Like, you see smiles on their faces and everything once they, well, it's after the, what were they called? The, genial gems, after they made their appearance. Like, yes, we do know that the tree is not death. The tree is rebirth. The tree does not kill. to be accepted by the tree is not necessarily dying. However, when you come back, you're described as someone who is not the same. You have no memories. So essentially, the person that went is dead. So for them to not even touch upon that. Yes, we did have the bit with Yang trying to break Ruby out of the cocoon before she'd fully gone through a metamorphosis and everything, in hopes that that would save her sister and everything. But that was like a 10-20 second thing in a 15-minute episode. And then there's nothing. There really should have been, and I said this in the reaction, I know I did, but there should have been a build-up. Because 5 stages of grief. You've got denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. So, in the last episode, with the paper please, not last episode, the one before, with the paper pleasers, you had denial and anger from Jean. And then they didn't have the chance for bargaining and depression. Well, technically they did have depression when he broke down about Penny and everything, but that was a completely different thing. And then they arrived back at the town to find the genial gems, basically doing the exact same thing, but having no memory of being the paper pleasers. And they get to do what they wanted to do in the last life. Sure, acceptance. The people, the things he's cared about will live on in a sense, even if they're not the same. Okay, send Jean to the tree. Fine. But for the others to not even get a single stage, just they're brought back with Jean and everything. I know this volume is a short one. They do need to get through everything in these 10 episodes. However, they chose to be shorter. Well, that's not true. We can't actually say that. We don't know whether it's a stipulation of their partnership with Crunchyroll, whether that's something set upon them by Warner Media, whatever it is. But they've got the story for 10 episodes. These episodes are averaging shorter than the equivalent in the last volume. Not by much, but they're still averaging shorter. The 13-minute season 8 episode 3 really throws it off, but so that was averaging high 16 minutes. This volume one second, I'll just get them all the listing out. Go back to RWBY. Volume 9. Oh no. No, I guess they do fall about the same. Technically this is higher than okay. No, this volume, the episodes are technically at a higher average than volume 8, but anyway, back to that. So they've got a shorter volume. They can't spend as much time dealing with the character fallouts and everything as they probably should have. But there should have been one more episode, or this episode should not have been the shortest of the season. Like, you wanna have an epic fight, spanning 2 episodes, like you did in the last volume, where it ends in the second half of the penultimate episode and carries through the majority of the final episode. Okay, fine. Make the second last episode longer. Have them deal with what happened in the episode before. At least touch upon it. Like, I don't get it. What's the point of the build-up? What's the point of such an emotional scene for her to be so emotionally broken down and everything? For them to come in just to see her do it and everything. If there's going to be no touching upon it. And yes, I know, I'm going against what I said at the start of the last episode, where this story is still ongoing. You can't judge it until it's finished and everything. There's probably going to be fallout coming later down the road. But at least in that episode, they had them realizing what they had done wrong. Well, what they had done wrong. Realizing that they were not as attentive as they to Ruby's emotions, like consciously. And then people would say, oh, they weren't at all. This one, there was nothing. At least not where it was needed. To say that acceptance is the key to getting to the tree. And then for them to get there without going through any of the other stages. You can't accept it if you didn't believe it in the first place. So, you can't get to the stage of acceptance if you didn't have a stage of disbelief beforehand. And that's what grief is. 4 stages of disbelief followed by 1 stage of acceptance. Without those, acceptance doesn't need to be. Because it just is. And for the rest of Team RWBY, it just was. But, yeah. I am interested to see if I'm in the minority here. If I'm part of that vocal group of people who shit on the show because of my feelings for this episode. I don't want to be a part of that group, but I need to know if I'm just looking too much into this or if it's like a general consensus that this episode was not handled that well in terms of what happened in the last episode. Fine. Just add the trauma onto John. He can deal with trauma. He's been dealing with trauma for years. This probably isn't going to be able to break him any more than everything else that has been piled upon him in his life. It's just another block at the top of the tower. Fine. He doesn't need to go through the 5 stages for RWBY. He should still probably have some disbelief in everything, but for him to arrive with the Geno gems and everything, send him to the tree. That is fine. I accept that. I probably would have done the same. Jean, there isn't much that could affect him in the same way it would the others. But with Team RWBY, Blake, as she said in the last season, RWBY is the person that she looks up to the most because she believed that there was no way a person like her could exist in such a terrible world, and then to come face to face with her and believe it and everything, and then to see her being broken down into the person that Blake thought she should have been before meeting her, And then for her to ultimately choose a way out because of it. There should have been something there with Weiss, her first friend, the first person to reach out to her, to try and break down her walls and everything. Her partner, the person she's closest to. And then she's suddenly gone. Sure, she's reconciled with her family and everything, but this doesn't mean anything. None of that would have happened without Ruby. Yang, her sister, her mother abandoned her. Her stepmother died. She basically raised this kid because of how broken down her father was those first few years of Ruby's life. And now, after having done everything to protect her, she chooses to go out herself. There was no Grim attack that she failed to protect her, no enemy that she couldn't beat. Ruby did it to herself. This should have broken the characters. They should not have been the way they were in this episode. Especially not before meeting the genial gems, seeing the proof of the resurrection. Because it's one thing to be told that the tree resurrects. It's another thing to see it. Especially since they've been told by the cat. Sure, the other Ever Afterians say it as well. However, without distinguishable proof, there's still going to be the essence of doubt. So for there to be nothing, it's just... There should have been something. But anyway, I'm just ranting at this point because I've loved this volume so far. I know many people haven't. I don't care. I have really enjoyed it. I've liked seeing Ruby finally breaking after everything that has happened to her. All the weight that's been placed on her, all of her failures. I like seeing that in a character because it makes them more relatable. And then this happens. Like, it's obviously never going to be as bad as season 4. I know why season 4 was bad, but like, I just personally don't like it because of the disjointed timeline and everything. That's my main thing, but I'm not going to get into why I like it. But this episode, at least the first half before they get to the tree, is way down there for me. But I've got to end this here. I'm going to keep going, but those are my thoughts. Repeated over and over again. I'll catch you in the next one.